What are you working on today? What are you doing? How are you? How is it?
What am I working on? What I'm working on in regards to writing, publishing, and authorship, well, maybe not particularly. Um, so, me with a pen and a paper or a keyboard in front of me, I wouldn't consider myself a great author. I don't find that I write very compelling texts or documents. I have a way with words when it comes to business and whatnot. But in terms of creating an engaging storyline, I'm pretty bad at that.
That's okay. That's what we're all working on, I think.
Oh, yeah. So I am looking to some of the AI tools to help me become more creative or to create more powerful storylines. And I find that if you're able to kind of, I don't even know if it's called pre-prompting or whatever it is, but you can have, a dedicated chatbot that's there
Hmm.
to help provide advice, provide feedback, give suggestions. I found some that's somewhat useful. I found it also a bit laborious as well, but I do think it's helped me kind of in thinking or structuring appropriate storylines
100%.
uh, and whatnot. And yeah, I still really grapple, and I know some of our other friends have talked about this, maybe you too, Michael. But as we sit here and the 1st of May in 2024, you know, should we be focusing more on shorter pieces? Because I think everyone's attention span is probably a lot shorter than what it was 20 years ago. Or is there still worth to creating a 30-minute piece or an entire book or whatever? I mean, I'm trying to apply this to video, and while video by itself is great, an audio component and trying to engage as many senses as you can to the viewer, only creates a more engaging experience for them. So yeah, audio is extremely critical, and whether that be music, voiceover, text, freestyle poetry, whatever it may be. Um, yeah, trying to get better at that stuff
Yeah,
right now. So that's what I'm working on.
I'm gonna talk about two of the things that you were mentioning there. First off, the AI aspect, which I use very heavily in the initial kind of ideation phase of things when I've got just little chunks of words and phrases. And I don't know if we've talked about this specifically, but it's something that I've been doing, I guess, at least for a year or more, to use LLMs to help me build out some of that thinking. And they're not doing the writing for me, but they're basically like a feedback partner when I'm generating those first ideas and trying to turn them into something a little bit more fleshed out or larger, or filling in gaps in the thinking that, like, oh, maybe I didn't think about that aspect of the prompt or the topic that I was pushing in. So I'll do that a lot. And then I'll take those notes and then I'll basically kind of roll through them. I'll print it out and then I'll kind of like write additional thoughts on that stuff. And then I'll do that again and kind of create a loop for a couple of runs. And then after that, that's kind of where I start to kind of jump off from, and we'll turn maybe my phrases or the little bits of thoughts and try and turn them into sentences, or maybe start to rearrange what I've got into segments, so paragraphs, and then hopefully get to pages at some point. That's kind of the process that I go through, at least with that stuff. In terms of the next thing you were talking about, like writing stories or getting more into narrative. I think when you do that, right, just doing it more and more, stuff starts to emerge. I was not a fiction writer, more into like journalism style stuff in the past. So fiction's still pretty new for me. And I think like what you were saying regarding people's attention span and whether or not they want short things or they want longer things, I think it depends on their interest and buy-in for a topic or a community or the creator. So, for example, like my fiction stuff, I'm new into that. So I don't have a large audience generated for that stuff. So what I have to ask in terms of buy-in has to be pretty low, you know. So I do short stories or shorter films, videos and stuff like that, as you know. But with the more journalistic stuff, where I've been doing that for years at this point, people are maybe more familiar with that side of me. So if I put out a book that's in that vein, people are apt to participate there. Or with a longer film piece like the documentary stuff up on Prime, it's not incredibly long. It's 47 minutes, right? But it does require not only the time buy-in, but the monetization aspect. So if you're paying for it, I think that you're going to want to absorb all of the media because you paid for it. So they're very likely to stick around for the entirety of that film. And I don't get a lot of people that drop off of it, within the first couple of minutes, whereas you see that pretty heavily on YouTube because the buy-in is very low. They can come back to it, or maybe they get distracted by some other thing because they're on their phone. But if they're watching on television or on their computer and they did have to subscribe or buy it, then they're there. They're captive. You've got them.
Yeah, there's plenty of data to support that, asking a person to pay something and asking them to, show up later at an event or a meeting or whatever it may be, but getting a monetary, literally a buy-in from them ends up producing much stickier people to actually, attend that event or whatnot. They've made, kind of a quote unquote investment in that, so if they are, paying to watch a movie, they've made a financial investment in their time, and they've shown that they, value that. So yeah, they are going to be a lot stickier. So that's interesting.
Do you have any questions about stuff you're working on or things you want to talk about with what you have going on, or promote any things that you've released? Like, you're welcome to post up in the nest, like your video stuff, or talk about any of that process. Like, I'm cool with all that. This is very chill.
Yeah. So, and it's recorded, and I would say this anywhere, but I do think, I only, I don't want to say primarily, but yeah, I only create, kind of art, video, however you want to define that, by using AI, maybe with some post tools afterwards, but it's heavily weighted towards that. So that's the, market segment that I'm in, artificial intelligence. And I do think we've kind of reached a point now with a lot of the tools that are available, either for free or at a very low cost, that, normal people like me, are able to produce very visually stunning, images and video and music for to that point, extremely quickly.
Yeah, your visual stuff has been great lately, man.
Yeah, thanks. And easily. So, in order to really kind of, stick out, in a good way, while I enjoy doing kind of, the norm, in air quotes, it's fun. But, to really kind of push myself and challenge myself, I'm leaning towards kind of more of an abstract video storyline. I use the term free verse poetry, something along those lines. I mean, the hurdles video, which I'm pretty sure you saw, was, kind of my step in that direction of, a bit more abstract, as opposed to your, typical music video, or, panning shots that you would see. So Trying to get abstract with, writing is something I find challenging and rewarding. I've got bits and pieces over here. I mean, this piece would work, but this doesn't work with this, and whatnot. So, yeah, instead of trying to, create some, magnificent story that people can buy into, I'm more of taking the tact of trying to create things that, aren't usually seen. I think we all do this for enjoyment. But then there does come a point, at least for me, that there needs to be an ROI, on my time.
For sure.
So as I, continue to spend hours and hours and hours every single day on this stuff, I need to find a different way to kind of stand out, catch some eyes, try to do something cool. So I'm really trying to push the video, audio, and story narrative in more of an abstract way that may not make sense as the viewer is viewing it, but kind of when you sum up all parts, take a step back, kind of think about what you read, saw, heard, maybe it makes sense then. So again, a very abstract idea, but that's kind of the point of it. So
yeah,
we'll see where it goes, but I love trying to do it.
One last question too. Do you find yourself creating the images first and then trying to cobble together a story after the fact? Or do you have a narrative arc and then try to create images around that?
It would be very difficult for me just to, create some images and then a story around it. If you don't have an idea, at least how I work, if you don't even have kind of a basis of an idea of where you want to take a story, and you're just going to pump out a bunch of, really good looking, images, videos, whatever it may be, I tend to think that would fall a little flat. So no, I generally go with kind of a, an idea, an arc, a story first, then kind of think about what sort of style I want to be able to present this in, what is the style of the video? What does the style of the art look like? And kind of build out from there.
Yeah, cool. I go both ways on that stuff in terms of, I think the fiction for me definitely do more plotting and outlining there. Video wise, with what we've been working on has been starting more with the images and then trying to find a way to pass through all that stuff. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I guess it just depends on what you're inspired towards. Jacqueline, what are you doing? You're hanging out. You haven't been here before.
I'm enjoying you guys talking so much. Thank you. Hello, everybody. I'm Jacqueline. Yeah, I'd like to respond to Neil, actually. Neil, I've been on a similar journey, probably not as technical as you, though. I've been creating some beautiful AI videos in PixLR and then Canva, and then using them in Clipchamp and making quite rudimentary little videos. But what I wanted to say is I didn't get much of a response. I boosted it on Instagram, didn't get much of a response. But then I started to do like community group work. So I started to get like, I was doing live Zoom meetings and just bringing people in and offering them value on what they were doing as well as what I was doing. And the only trouble with that is you do spend a lot of time, right, in those spaces. But I've actually got a lot more eyes and likes and responses based on the effort that I'm making, reaching out to other people. And so that's just been a learning curve that I've gone through in the last, I guess, 3 months. And it's probably not rocket science to you guys, but for me, it was quite an illumination. So that's just an observation from me.
Yeah, it's I think kind of in this Web3 space. I mean, what we are now. I mean, none of us would know each other without the power of Twitter, and there is a certain flavor of Web3 on these Twitter spaces. But finding a group of people, maybe even a community if you wanted to label that, but people that you're able to rely on for honest feedback, critical feedback, a good sounding board, I think is really paramount. And I mean, how do you come up with ideas? I mean, it's just from your own life experiences, but being able to bounce those ideas off of people that you truly respect in this space really can, take things to a place that, you probably couldn't have gotten to by yourself. So, I've participated in, I've participated in, art critiques and, had people that, teach classes on art, critique my art. But yeah, just, getting a sounding board, a group of people, a community, and kind of people that you can rely on, I think is really paramount just to kind of growth in this space. Just for me, I mean, I'm a mere amateur. I don't have a long resume that would impress anybody in terms of the length of time, maybe on the outputs of what I'm making. But that all said, I still have lots to learn, and I consider Michael a friend, and there's a bunch of other people that I would call friends that I could rely on for good, feedback and connections as well in this space. So yeah, I second that as much. Second that what you said, Jacqueline. Just finding your tribe, finding your group of people. What is it? Many hands make for light work. Is that a saying?
Yeah, exactly. It's so true.
There's a topic, or there's a concept in writing, and I want to invite Robin and Altered. If you guys want to come and hang out, you're welcome to do that. Just request and I'll add you on. But there's a concept in writing circles and author circles and publishing called beta readers, and it functions in two ways as I've used it: sort of promotional, but then also critique in terms of getting some advanced eyes on your material to find errors or holes in your writing to help kind of shore some of that stuff up. And I think that, like with you, Neil, like we met in Black Space, and I think that he does that pretty well, right? In trying to not only evaluate large collections of work or maybe individual pieces, but then to help connect like a thesis on a personal level for an artist, but then also on a project level for maybe a style or a collection of pieces that have a particular thematic aspect that runs through them, which I think is good. I don't take enough advantage of that in that group because I'm not necessarily as visually oriented as the other folks are, but I like the conversations, and that's helpful for me.
Yeah, there's people that have that talent. I think you need to have kind of a certain, street cred or representation to be able to host those effectively. But yeah, I mean, a writer's room, or, some people are very afraid of feedback. They don't like to receive feedback, and you need to be open to it, or else you're not going to have a good time if you get into a setting like that. So that's really kind of step one, is just being able to accept critical feedback. There's bad feedback. I mean, don't get me wrong. People can say, things that aren't very helpful, and, maybe even sometimes malicious, unfortunately. But finding people that, know how to provide appropriate feedback and know when to push you. There's not many of those individuals. But yeah, being able to know some of those people, whether that be in the traditional art space, and I'm sure there is in the writing space and the publishing space as well, as you mentioned, Michael. I just think those things are so invaluable. Having a set of peers, being able to help you on your journey, I find is just really beneficial. I do it here in this kind of Web3 space. Also do it personally in my life. It's really invaluable.
Yeah, I do. with writing, I try to have circles of folks that I think are suited to particular things, right? So inside of the fiction aspect, there's a DM group that I'm in where they're very focused on that style of fiction, and they're very helpful with crafting in that phase. And I'll have them kind of read through that material and basically give me feedback on that stuff. And then what I do later on, as I'm wrapping it up and beginning to work on the audiobook version, whoever was participating in that beta read of the editorial, then I'll pass them the audio version too, so that they get to listen to it. And what I do with fiction is a straight narrative read, and then I do an audio play version that'll have like music and sound effects and stuff. And I think that having people that watched it develop all the way from those early writing versions, those drafts, all the way through to, well, here is the most immersive version of this I can do with the written word before even potentially bringing it to video or on screen. That in that way, that has been very helpful for me. What's up, Robin? You're hanging out. I don't know if you've connected yet, but Jacqueline, what are you promoting lately, or what do you got something coming out soon?
Thank you for asking that. Could I ask you a question first, though?
No.
I'm new to I'm new to audiobooks, and I'm thinking about recording my own. And I wondered what equipment or programs I would need to purchase before I embarked on audiobooks.
Well, I would say this is what you are going to want to have for to optimize for. There's really like two different types of microphones. One is a condenser, and that's powered. And then the other is unpowered, and it's basically just a, like the one I'm using right now, additionally, is an SM58 passing into, lost Neil, that's okay. Passing into an interface that can be brought into recording software. I use GarageBand most regularly, but there are lots of different types. GarageBand is just a very quick, easy way of doing it. There's much more dynamic things. There's also free ones. If you don't have Mac OS, you can use Audacity. It's not as intuitive as GarageBand is. That's why I like that one, because it basically allows me to move very rapidly through recording and then getting into the editing aspect, which is always super time consuming. I don't love doing editing, but I do it anyway, because you have to. If I could automate one thing, I would do that for sure. Hey, what's up, Robin? You're back. I don't know if you're live. Maybe you will be in a minute. But yeah, those are the pieces that I use. Now here's something that you want to be concerned with. Like, a condenser mic has greater range, and it's going to capture more of the nuance of your voice and your performance. But it's also so incredibly sensitive that if your space is not particularly isolated, or is in an environment that has a lot of noise going on, and I do mean not even just within the physical confines of like your home or office or whatever, but like trucks driving by, airplanes flying over, helicopters, it will pick that up. So that's why I kind of go back to the SM58, because even though the frequency capture stuff is not as sensitive, it gets most of it, and I also have to do a lot less work in terms of editing or being concerned with environmental factors, and that will save you time on editing and performance. Because say like you're in the middle of a line read and a truck drives by or something else drives by, then all of a sudden you're like having to start over, which is a drag.
Right. Thank you for that. So I just want to hand the mic over to other people, but I just want to share. Yeah, I just want to share that I'm going to be recording my first audiobook in November. And The Custodians came out, which is a dark psychological thriller that I wrote last year. It's come out March 11th. It was at the London Book Fair. I'm having a lot of beautiful, positive feedback and results from it. And I'm using Shimmer, testing out Shimmer, which is an AI marketing concept, which is quite affordable. And so far, I've been quite impressed with the metrics that they're coming back with me to me about. So, it's early days, but I thought I would try and use some AI marketing and see how I got on.
Yeah, I definitely would like to hear more about that and how it develops over time. So you'll have to follow up with us, or maybe just hit me up at some point. Robin, did we get your audio sorted out? How's it coming along?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I had something wrong with my my ear pods or my earbuds. So I took them out. Yeah. So anyway, it's nice to be in the space. Thank you. I was going to jump in and talk about my favorite subject, beta readers, because
cool. Yeah, do that.
Because in about a month or so, I'm going to be done with editing my sci-fi novel. It's been 7 months on my second draft, and what I've decided is I'm sending my my text to a variety of people. There's going to be like 6 beta readers. So in my mind, I want people that I know, or people that I know are not trolls, that don't have a mean spirit, meaning I don't know them well, their LinkedIn connections or their ex, So in that way, I vetted them. And also probably because I'm a control freak, I'm going to send them my my manuscript, and I'm going to give them guidelines. I'm not going to, because people, sometimes people don't know how to respond if they don't like something. So I'm going to say to them, it will be helpful for me if you find something confusing, tell me it's confusing, and then tell me exactly why or exactly what you don't understand. That way it takes the kind of personal, I'm saying this to you, not to them now. It takes the kind of personal.
No, I'm sending this to them. You're saying it to them as well.
Right. Well, I don't know that I'm going to say something like, well, don't, I'm not taking it personally, but I'm telling you that, by sort of crafting how I want them to answer, it takes away any kind of, personal jab. Like,
sure.
People are probably not going to say, man, this was idiotic. Not that the people that I'm sending it to would say that anyway. So my point being, for me, when I'm sending my text to my beta readers, first of all, it's a select group of people. They're not random. And they span the gamut. Some like sci-fi, some don't. Some like, some I know well, some I don't. So I sort of want that kind of general public. And, and so, that's what I have to say about beta readers. And the other thing is, this is my second time on this space. And I found last time really valuable because you were talking a lot about, like you are today, about AI and about visuals. Mm-hmm. So as soon as I got off of the spaces, I went and tried that free application, OpenAI.
Okay.
And it was, I've never done anything like that before. So for me, it was sort of, you're like, whoa, for you, you'd probably be like, oh, no big deal, But for me, it really was a window into how you all create things and how words actually have to get translated into pictures, which for me was like another thing.
Yeah.
So thank you.
That recording is above in the nest. I released it on Monday. And it is available to listen back if there are things that you want to hear again, or want people to, because you spoke last time as well, right? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you want people to hear you on there, it's available. As this one will be in another week and a half, I'll put this one out. That's usually how it goes. I record them, do this space every 2 weeks, and then release the audio the Monday before the Wednesday session so that it's available to put up in the nest. People can catch up, maybe revisit anything that was talked about in that prior session, which, you know, it's good to have those kind of things in general. What else would you guys like to talk about or explore? I do like the topic of beta readers and have even tied that into beta listeners for audiobook stuff. I think that when you have people that are willing to invest that kind of time into what you're doing, that's super useful. I don't write novels, but have been doing this with chapters and have been doing this with, short stories and stuff for the last couple of years, where basically, as I'm getting the drafts together, the people that are giving me feedback are the same people that I go back to when that piece comes out. And as I've been doing video, that same sort of thing is going to come into effect, where Neil was here. So he's in a group with me where we work on video stuff, narrative video. And I am going to convert The Fall of Tartaria, which was a video I put out in the middle of April or early April, that I'm going to turn into a short story. So I'll go back to those people that helped me while I was creating that video to read the story, make sure it converts the same way. And then, again, when I turn it into an audiobook. And I think that, again, the community aspect, which is partially, what we do here on this Twitter space, but also with DMs and all kinds of things like that, or even Discord groups, you're able to lean into building relationships or getting to know people's styles over time that way, which is helpful.
I can share a little bit about what I've been doing. So since the book came out, I started a Substack and I had 145 people follow me, mostly my relatives and friends, and they were very generous. So what I did was I decided to do a closed WhatsApp group and invite people to jump ship and get more intimate. And in terms of being not just enthusiastic about the book that they'd read, which I'd released, but also to help me drive plot too, because they were so invested in the characters. And what I found was 10 people jumped ship, joined me in this WhatsApp group, and we've had a tremendous amount of fun sharing ideas about where they believe the characters, where they would like to see the characters go. And it's crowdsourced for me an incredible amount of the work that I would do, like double thinking, and is that consistent with what this character did? Because these guys are like almost
Invested.
fans now,
Yeah.
right? They're invested, and that just came about organically. So I don't know if that helps you, Robin, as well. To build yourself a little fan base of people that really love your work too, and can give you that feedback just from that perspective.
Yeah, I'm really stressed about getting a fan base, and that's a good idea. There's never enough people who can follow you, but I really don't have enough, and it's been difficult for me. So that is a great suggestion. Thank you.
And I would say it's valuable to exist on a lot of different places. I try to participate as best as I can across the board in terms of like social networking and stuff like that. It's a lot. It's very hard to do that. And I know other people are like, well, you should just do one or two things and go really deep there. And to a degree, I agree with that. I would say, for a long time, Twitter was my main, and I was very heavily active and doing a lot here. And not only in terms of conversation, but also illustrating things that I was working on and showcasing and stuff like that. Probably maintaining a bunch of profiles across the board has lessened that, but at the same time, I'm more aware of more things that are going on, and that is valuable to me at this point. That doesn't mean it always will be that way. You can always kind of shift your focus and your attention over time. And I think that if you find a place that is catering to your work or to your interests the most, then it's probably a strong indicator that you should spend more time on that and try and build it up while you have momentum there, or are getting the sort of engagement or feedback that's working for you. So I do like the WhatsApp aspect. I really like Discord. Have been a Discord user for 5 or 6 years now, and get a lot of value out of that platform just because of the way that it allows you to connect individually, connect in groups, have servers. I think that it currently offers the most dynamic community building platform that is free for the most part right now.
Michael, would you perhaps do a session on Discord for those of us who know nothing about it and some of the features maybe next time?
Well, I'm happy to talk about it now if you want.
Oh, that's very kind. Thank you.
I don't typically do themed sessions in here, but it is, we're talking community building in general and promotion in general, which is right in the wheelhouse. That's all good. So what I would say, and let me use the example of like the group that I'm in with Neil, right? Because we heavily use Discord. We have a group chat here on Twitter because that's kind of like where we all met and connected, and we're able to move posts and stuff like that through that group chat. But it is very stream of consciousness, as Twitter is, very linear in terms of chronology, right? And it's very hard to go back in time when that DM group starts to fill up. So something like Discord allows you to do something very similar with a group chat, and it also has better functionality in terms of metadata and replying and pinning posts and stuff like that in a group DM. But what you then also get is group voice chat. So you can have a call directly between an individual like you and I, Jacqueline, have done in the past. But then also say you have 5 or 6 people in a group together, then you can have everybody chat live together in that group DM on video or voice, which is fantastic. Functionally the same here as this Twitter space, but it's not broadcast. It's just, for the folks that are there and whoever is running the Discord server. Whoever is running the Discord service, they have, I would assume, access to that. Now, there's another component of Discord called servers, and you can start up what's basically like an invite-only server, and you can create roles. You can create tiered access to things. You can create multiple voice channels, multiple text channels. You can create forums inside of there, so people can post a topic, and that can kind of turn into a thread where the conversation continues off of that topic or theme, and it doesn't clog up a text channel, which again becomes very stream of consciousness. But you can create as many voice channels as you want, create as many text channels, forum channels, and you're able to kind of delineate these things and compartmentalize different aspects of the server so that people can have dedicated spaces for conversations or dedicated spaces for groups of people. Because again, you can tier access. So say you have maybe a couple different levels of moderation or a couple of different levels of general usership, you're able to silo all of these different things in very independent ways, which makes it really dynamic in that way. So again, I've been using Discord for quite a while at this point and have managed some servers and, just I really have been an advocate for it because of how easy it makes some of those things. And it does get super complex too. I don't want to make it sound like it's completely always simple and easy. You can integrate bots. So there's automation functionality. I'm sure you guys have crossed paths with Midjourney users or outputs at some point, and they have been, they kind of built their community around Discord and their bot access on that platform, which enabled people to, create their work there. So those are all I would say the general collection of different stuff. What's up, Comfort? If you want to come up and speak, you are more than welcome. Just raise your hand and we'll bring you up. We're talking writing in general. Right now, we've been just kind of going over Discord and community building as a function of audience building, fandom building, stuff like that, or even just, again, you could create spaces for your beta readers or beta listeners, or even workspaces for the folks that are participating in that creation aspect. If, say, an editor or whatever, you can trade PDFs there or post copy into it. So yeah, it does a lot. If there are questions about that, you're welcome to follow up. I tried to be as thorough and brief as possible, but if you guys have additional questions, I'm happy to go more.
Thank you, Michael. I actually have to leave now, but I wanted to say that I've been using Mighty Networks and I haven't been very impressed with the versatility in that space. So I'm going to check out and geek out over Discord per this recommendation. Thank you.
I don't know Mighty Networks. What can you tell me about that?
Yeah, it's a glorified Facebook basically, and you pay for it. People can message each other. They can you have a feed. You can share in the communal feed. You can create rooms. For an upgrade, I think it's about 150 a month. You can actually have live streams, and you can teach, and you can do pre-recorded courses. And that's why I joined, because I wanted to actually teach some different things there. But people have just been a bit stymied. We've hit a few walls in terms of how much live streaming we can do, bandwidth, how many photographs per post people can upload, and it just didn't flow.
Gotcha.
So I'm actually looking to jump ship fairly soon.
Then Discord might be the way to go, because while it is at a base level free, there are also kind of boosted functions that you can purchase and will enable a bunch of different stuff. And they have an API as well, so you're able to integrate it with the web and a collection of other things. Like when I say the web, I mean like websites that exist out there on the net, but in terms of services that can pull API stuff, but then also you can integrate it with your own website specifically in a variety of ways if you are a developer or have a developer. Cool. Yeah. We're just hanging out. If there are other points that you guys want to talk about or promote, that's cool with me. Otherwise, we don't have to hang out for the duration. I usually block out at least an hour, but I don't want to just talk at you guys. That's not my goal here. Usually like to try to keep it conversational. That always is the most engaging to me.
Yeah, well, thank you, Michael. And I will have more time next time. But I've just followed everybody, and just thank you so much for your time and your shares, and hope to see you guys again.
Yeah, for sure. We'll be back in 2 weeks, obviously. We'll record this and
Okay.
We're connected on social networks, so you'll see it.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Have a good one. Robin, what are you up to? What do you have going on? Anything else? Any other points?
Well, I'm just really interested in this conversation about, about getting people engaged and keeping them engaged, and having your part of your base as your beta readers, and you can sort of bring them back as your fan base. I'm just sort of thinking of all of that. Right now, where I am right now, I'm just starting to, edit the last part of my book. And then, again, I'm going to get it to beta readers. And my continuing anxiety is the next step, which is, the publication and, getting people to read it. So,
Yeah. Well, I think that's always kind of the concern, right? And
yeah.
That, like, we want people to read us because we're working on this stuff, and that functions a lot of different ways too. In that, maybe there's a way of utilizing stuff like Substack or newsletters to, after you've had your beta readers work through it, post up some preliminary chapters and build some momentum there. A friend of mine does that with the series he's working on. So he actually publishes his entire books chapter by chapter as he's drafting them, and kind of builds up community there. And what is in those drafted chapters, I don't go back and check and see how much continuity there is between that version on Substack and what's in the book. But it's working for him, and I know that it does work for a lot of other folks too. There's an opportunity to basically create spaces like this where people are able to learn more about what you're doing and follow along with what you're doing. And in that way, those people convert over and may connect with you on other platforms. So for example, Jacqueline is not a heavy Twitter user, and she's more invested in Instagram, but we connected in the last month, and basically, she's come back over here to hang out some. And this was the first time she was on this Twitter space, but hopefully, she'll continue to get value out of either Twitter or this Twitter space, or participating in group DMs and stuff like that. So that would be the way, I would advocate for it. It's slow build, it's slow burn. You have to just kind of keep plugging along, and not everything is going to hit with everyone. Well, let me say that for me, not everything hits with everyone, right? There are some things that I do that particular segments of the folks that I'm connected to like more than others. And for me, that's okay. I'm going to keep doing the things that I like, because that's what's important to me, is that I'm enjoying the creation process in general. So, find your niche. Ice, I've seen you hanging out before, but I don't know if you've ever come up and talk. If you want to, you're more than welcome to. Just request, and I'll bring you up. Otherwise, we'll let Robin talk if she would like, or we can wrap it up for today. Not a big deal.
Oh, well, I guess, thank you, for all of your advice and help. The other thing I wanted to say is, my platforms of choice are X/Twitter. I'm on LinkedIn, and I have a following on Medium. I'm a Medium writer, and I'm heading into about 750 followers.
Crushing.
But yeah, it's good. But I'm writing a sci-fi novel, but I also do humor. I do humor short articles on Medium, and they're different. They're sort of, they're different mental spaces in a way. And I want to figure out a way to get the people that read my sort of funny articles to know about my serious sci-fi and want to, buy it. So it may have to do with me just switching how I write on Medium.
I remember you mentioning that before. Is there anything wrong with maybe putting something into like a signature area at the bottom for a little while, or maybe even peppering in like some samples here and there with the humor stuff that you do? Is it just like you've compartmentalized it into being that one thing, or is there some other aspect that's like stopping you from doing that?
Well, I think I haven't compartmentalized it intentionally, but I write different ways. But you can't, there's not really a signature on Medium, but there's like an about section where you can put a link, and I have a link to my website.
Well, what I mean is that like on Medium, you can put whatever you want in there, and you could basically put like a little like boilerplate bit of material at the bottom of your posts.
Well, that's true.
Nobody's going to stop you.
That's true. That is true. Yeah, no, that's a good idea. I'm going to think about all that. So, you get stuck in your head and it takes somebody to suggest something before you can sort of get out of it. That's how I feel. So thank you.
Yeah. Cool. Well, shoot. Yeah. That's pretty much it that I've got. If we had other people hanging out and talking, I'd run longer, but for the meantime, conversation was good. Tight group hanging out. We'll be back in 2 weeks. Do appreciate you taking the time. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you before too long.